is I have found the doctor, the author, the mother of four, the founder of SoWell, the person who can really tell us about GLP-1 in a medical way, in a way where she has basically helped thousands of people with her telehealth company. And so I don't usually write down any questions, but I have this time because if we only have an hour with you, although would you please be my doctor? If we only have this hour with you, I want it to be rich and deep and meaningful. Welcome to the pod, Dr. Alexandra Sowa. This is the Mom Curious podcast, where we say the quiet part out loud about womanhood, motherhood, and everything in between.
And I still have a couple of the vials.
Shut up!
No, you shut up. I kept them. So
You're just hoarding sperm?
No.
That was a joke. That was a joke.
That was a joke. 30, like my mid-30s, when like my body started changing and stuff after shitting out 3 kids.
Stop taking advice from people on the internet, like myself included.
And I didn't realize how heavy that would be, and that loving my children would not be enough to make me not a basket case.
And that gave me the freedom to do something for myself.
And it's an adventure that is not just all doom and gloom.
You know better, and if you didn't, now you know better.
Thank you for having me. I'm really thrilled to be here.
Although, did you call yourself Alexandra?
I mean, I'm Eastern European, so it's like a little like Alexandra Sowa.
From where?
Sowa. It's Polish.
I love it.
It means, it's a really cool name. It means night owl in Polish. And
Are
so I am not. I like my sleep. So a little curious there. But I like to think I'm wise, like an owl.
You are wise. Can you set the stage for us? I really did seek you out to find the voice of the Ozempic Revolution, and it's you. Can you tell us about how you got to this work of obesity medicine, how the mission that you're on to share this information and to make GLP-1s a little more comfortable for those of us who actually need it?
Yeah, so I am a dual board certified doctor. I think it's important to say because there are a lot of voices in the room right now and not everyone knows what they're talking about.
Yeah.
I have been doing this before anyone else was doing this. I have been an obesity medicine doctor for well over 10 years, exclusively practicing in the space. And I got here in my training at NYU. It was excellent, but all we did in internal medicine was care about the very end stage of disease.
Okay.
And that's what we learned to manage and to treat, and that's what I was taken care of.
To save lives.
Yeah, which is awesome.
Great, we need that.
But I've always been a preventative girl. Like, I've always known that health is not just the absence of disease.
Right.
Or treating disease. It's like, it's very holistic. And so I went into medical school really wanting to be that doctor, and then I was like, oh, wait, what do I do here?
Yeah.
And so while I was in my training, and this was a while ago, there was an emerging field called obesity medicine. And I was so lucky to have early access to the founders of this field. And they validated what I knew growing up in a family of women who struggled with excess weight. Always. Both of my grandmothers, very specifically, both sides of the family. They were just different builds, and they tried, and they tried, and they only got heavier and heavier.
And just your grandmothers, not your grandfathers?
Listen,
or was it not an issue with your grandfathers?
It was.
It was.
But like, it just didn't bother them as much.
Right.
And genetically, I probably come from the stock of people that have always carried excess weight, right?
Ditto.
Yeah, and we're hardy.
Yeah, that's how we survive.
Exactly. But for my grandmothers specifically, when my family came to the United States from Eastern Europe, the food environment changed and they just could not modify, and they got heavier and heavier. And so my whole life, we talked about the Weight Watchers diets, whatever new diet was coming out. We talked about steps. We talked about the new thing at the gym. We did the cabbage soup diet. Now, when I say the collective we, it was kind of like I was there and like no one was putting me on a diet. Like, somehow I emerged without an eating disorder, but I just had a real appreciation for how hard people tried.
And it wasn't like you had to try so hard?
No, I mean, sure, I was a little pudgy. We should go back. I mean, I should do a deep dive on pictures because I think I just innately always knew like being thin and like of normal weight wasn't easy for me. I had to think about it. And I have a distinct memory of doing Jane Fonda step aerobics before a physical when I was like, I don't know, 9.
Why before a physical?
I don't know, so I could be thinner.
Like right before?
Right before.
Was that your idea or was that your mom's idea?
Oh, it was definitely not my mom's.
Uh-huh.
I had a very just, trying to not put that upon me.
Oh,
but
good for her. Already in that
yeah,
generation. Good for
yeah.
her.
And we were just very like Whole Foods focused. And so I think she was like a little bit of a hippie, like always knew like we shouldn't bring plastics into the house.
Oh.
She was ahead of her time. So I kind of grew up in that environment, but I just knew that it was something so much more than trying hard and like willing yourself to lose weight, and it wasn't about willpower. So I took that through my education, and then when I got to internal medicine residency, I was like, I gotta help these people. It cannot just be giving a handout saying eat less, exercise more, because you give that to a person who struggles with excess weight and they're like, yeah, no crap.
Yeah.
I have been doing that my whole life.
But isn't there a difference between someone who struggles with excess weight and someone who's obese?
I mean, it depends on how we're phrasing it, right? So obesity is a disease.
Yeah.
And it's a disease of excess fat or adiposity. And so we have phases of it. And we are starting to learn that the different phases of excess weight can translate in different ways. And so we often talk about BMI,
right,
which is a super inexact number, but it's a screening tool, just height and weight compared. And that starts to put us into buckets. And that kind of puts some people into an overweight category, some people into an obesity category. But then we can start to look at things like body fat, which can totally blow BMI out of the water because body fat doesn't always align with BMI, right?
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. Because BMI, I actually made this crazy mistake back in residency because I had like a bodybuilder patient and I didn't see a lot of those. It was probably like my intern year. And I was in clinic and he was so ripped and his BMI was like kind of high. And then I didn't know about supplementing with creatine, and he was doing a lot of that. So his like kidney numbers were up. And so I ended up sending him over. But it was just because he was supplementing.
Oh.
His kidneys were working great. And I sent him over to the kidney clinic. And they were like, okay, we're going to educate you here about his body fat is like 0, and he's not in an excess BMI category, and his kidneys are perfectly fine. So I learned a good lesson.
I just assume, can't we know our BMI just by like figuring out the equation on the internet?
Sure, you can put it in. And it's
and it is a good marker for like how we're doing in our life, or no?
It's a helpful screening tool on population level. And you can definitely put it in, and it helps us achieve these little goals, right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't tell us anything about our health, actually, right? We need to dive into our lab numbers. Body fat can tell us a lot more about our health. Okay. It's kind of traditionally been hard to get, but it's easier to get now. We have going to pop up like DEXA scans. They're all over New York City right now. They're great. They look at not only bone, but they'll look at fat and muscle. You can get bioimpedance testing in doctor's offices, and even home scales can do a decent job at testing your body fat. And that tells us a little bit more about our health.
A home scale can
Yeah. There's some measurement of error, but it can kind of estimate how much fat versus muscle you have.
The real question I have around this is, I'm very open about like my hypothyroidism, my PCOS, both of which can cause weight gain, but also like water retention, which is actually the most uncomfortable part for me. Yeah. And so my weight fluctuates quite a lot. Like I am a person on the internet. I like see myself on camera quite a lot. And like some days I'm skinny and some days I'm fat, and I actually know that I can see it and I don't care because I'm sort of a person of the body positive mind where I'm like, yeah, that's what I look like sometimes. And that's also what I look like sometimes. Why are we caring about fat? Like, what does it mean for our health, our brains, and our lives to have excess fat?
Yeah. So people think fat is just a nuisance, but it is very active organ. So it controls all the hormones in our body. And fat talks to our brain, it talks to our pancreas, it talks to our muscles, and it is a driver of so much hormonal dysfunction. And then the outcome of that can be very poor health. And so we care about fat and we care about muscle. And then we also care about where you're carrying your fat, right? As we age, specifically women, we start to put it on in our midsection, and that can be more metabolically destructive. So that sort of fat, it can lead to worsening insulin resistance, type 2 diabetes, different types of cancers. It's just a worse predictor of future health. And so, you know, we pay attention to it. So we don't just want to look at BMI, because then you could get like me and you get confused if it's muscle or fat, like when I was a 23-year-old medical intern, you know. And
I mean, you did better than I have.
yeah. And, you know, or is it just, are we chasing skinny? And that's a real problem right now with these drugs. People think I'm just trying to target the number on the scale, and I'll often walk it back with patients being like, no, we're done with the number on the scale. We are targeting your body fat composition now, because just being skinny does not necessarily equate to health.
Yeah, what I love about following you on social media is that you're like very, very, very well spoken and super smart, and also really into like reality television.
I mean, let's talk all about it. I am.
I know you are. And like a mother of four somehow. I like that. I literally can't compute that even. So, but I'm like noticing that in pop culture, we are seeing people getting skinnier and skinnier. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, for years, I was on a platform trying to tell people that obesity is a disease and that we have these amazing medications for it, and they are not the easy way out. Now, I think the pendulum for me has to shift a little bit, because I need to tell people that we need to protect our bodies and our minds from the potential negatives of these drugs, which is ill use, which is using it to get skinny. And I think, unfortunately, what we see on TV or in magazines with celebrities is a very small part of the population. But it drives a lot of the conversation, and it drives a lot of what we think in our own brains. Like, we should look like that. We should aspire to that, right? And we really have to be careful that that's not the goal.
Can you talk about like the negative
effects
of that, like the skinny fat, the essentially being safe on this drug? Who are we really talking to when we're saying, get on GLP-1, take these supplements so that you feel more comfortable, which I'd love to get into?
Right. So GLP-1s, they work on our brain, they work on our gut, they work on our pancreas, and they decrease our appetite significantly. And if you have significant excess weight to lose, and you likely have that weight to lose because you have neurohormonal dysregulation.
Oh, you talking to me? Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
I use that word.
Yeah, I do.
Everybody does. Like when we're struggling with weight specifically.
The truth is, like, genetically, I have a predisposition. I'm just like bigger. I'm just like a bigger girl. And also it's like the water retention. It's
totally
so uncomfortable
for
me.
The hormones get confused in the messaging, and these drugs help with that. But if we're not using it for that reason, then we just stop eating. I mean, that should never be the goal, ever, ever, ever. But if you're just using this to take away your appetite and your body is like, okay, I'm going to waste away now, the negative implications of that are so big. Primarily, I think often about bone health. So young girls who are using this drug to get skinny, they are destroying their bones. And bones are one of the most precious things that we have that we need to protect, because they are our skeleton for life. And once they start breaking down, it is hard to repair it.
I need you to tell me more about this.
Yeah. So if you're just not fueling your body appropriately, or if you get your weight to a place where as a woman you are taking away your periods and you're further disrupting your hormones, which we know happens when you get too thin. And I've seen some celebrities who are postulated to be on these drugs where I'm like, I don't know if they're menstruating normally. I think their whole hormonal axis is disrupted. You start to eat away at your bones, and you develop something called osteopenia. And this has been overblown as a risk for people who really need the drug.
Right.
But when you really don't need the drug and you're not eating and you're not supporting yourself nutritionally, things like this can happen. And then you start to see changes in skin, that, you know, loss of collagen, hair loss. But when you're on these drugs just for normal normal reasons, like the reasons that the majority of people are on them, you still have to watch out for all of these side effects. We need to make sure that you are getting enough nutrition. My platform is you got to eat, you got to drink, and you have to take in the appropriate nutrients. And it's why I created a whole company called SoWell around supporting people on this, because I have been doing this for a long time. I wrote a whole book on it. I wrote the first book on thriving on GLP-1 medications.
Yeah.
I developed a whole method called the SoWell method. And I was like, well, okay, I have a limited amount of spaces in my practice. I wrote the book, but I'm not sure who reads anymore. No. But
It's on Audible.
I don't know. It's true. You can listen. But I really need to take what I know and put it out into the world in a really easily digestible
Get it?
way. And so what I developed in my own practice to support people so they didn't get all of these crazy side effects was this method. You wake up, you start your day with electrolytes. We need to make sure your electrolytes have the right ratio of nutrients and magnesium, potassium. We're going to throw in B6 for nausea. And then I need to make sure you eat, because the biggest problem on these drugs is that you forget to drink and you forget to eat. Yeah. And not eating almost begets not eating. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Well, no,
if you
because
just don't
I actually
start
I
up,
like to eat a lot, but I believe you. I think that you've treated thousands of patients, so like I do believe you. But I also know that like for a person with a lot of food noise, which I am one, that alarm bell not constantly going off to eat or to drink is such a relief. Yeah. So I understand why, if you are a person who struggles, and I would say that probably those people who are like dieting to the point of exhaustion and, to a point that is unhealthy, they probably also have a lot of food noise. And so if these drugs are targeting your brain saying, all good, you don't need to eat, you don't need to drink, there is probably some relief, except they need to be on another medication for that. They need to be on, they need a different type of help.
A different type of help. Yeah. And that's what we're missing a lot. Unfortunately, GLP-1s have become so ubiquitous right now, but I don't think we're providing care in a way that's holistic. Kind of come back to my original ethos of how I ended up in this field, is that like we really need to support people from their brains to their nutrition to their full bodies on the medications. And for a long time, it was hard to get access to these meds. And now it's almost become a little too easy. You can just like talk to a bot online and no one's caring, hey, are you getting your protein goals?
I've spoken to those bots.
Yeah. And I don't want to gatekeep too much on the medications, but now I'm on a mission to not gatekeep the knowledge around how to support yourself on these medications, because you need to learn how to eat and you need to learn how to take care of your brain, because your brain starts to do some funny things. At first, it's a huge relief to be on these medications and kind of this concept of like not eating. You're like, oh my gosh, I have such relief from not eating. I'll just not eat because that feels so good. But that's going to get you into some hot water.
I'll tell you other hot waters that I've been in. And after doing my research on your work, I know I now know them to be hot water, but like the pastries, they would be gluten-free, but they would be full of sugar. The pastries that like would normally, I would binge on, that I could stop at one, I would just have the pastry because I would be so excited about finally just not being overly stimulated by the prospect of sugar. That said, I don't want to eat protein, so I didn't eat protein, and then I would be confused why I was so nauseous. So nauseous, and then I wouldn't take it. I didn't want to be on the GLP-1 anymore, because even though I take it for medical reasons, like I take it to deal with my insulin resistance, I was just like, I don't like being nauseous. I don't like being so tired. I can't like do my day.
Totally. Okay, so do you know how you're going to fix this?
So you're going to be my doctor.
Well, I'll be the doctor, but also this whole protocol I put together targets everything what you were just saying.
So like I don't need to come to you as my doctor. I could just...
Well, this is the whole point. I'm trying to scale myself through SoWell, as I'm trying to be like, okay, everybody out there, the millions of people on these drugs, I want you to take what I've learned, and there are specific products that you need along in your journey. And for me, that is electrolytes, that is protein, and that is fiber. And science tells us to be true. No doctors are telling patients this. They're just like, good luck, here's a prescription. And unfortunately, like that's the way that this medical system is built. It's kind of like do no harm, but we don't necessarily need to make you feel your best.
Okay, so what do I do
Yeah.
to not be essentially yo-yo dieting again? So I'm like on the medication, not on the medication.
Oh, has that been
nauseous
you?
on the medication.
Have you started and stopped?
Yeah, because also in general, I don't like being on medication at all.
Yeah.
Like the idea of it is just like, no. I had babies, which, people say with PCOS, my fertility would have been really hard. That wasn't the case. I overhauled my lifestyle, and I thought I could clear all this up myself. I don't need medication. I'm 41 years old. I still deal with this discomfort.
Yeah.
I deserve to feel good, so I should be on the medication.
Yeah.
But it does make me nauseous.
Yeah.
And it can make me tired sometimes.
So I'm on a mission to make people stop the yo-yo dieting on these medications, because I even put it in my book, GLP-1s are a solve for chronic yo-yo dieting, but not if you're just starting and stopping them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so why do people start and stop? Well, for a handful of reasons, but a lot of times it's side effects. Up to 66% of people stop this drug by 1 year, mostly due to side effects.
Oh, yeah.
And none of my patients have ever had to stop these drugs. Okay, so what do? How do you replicate being my patient? It's a lot about hydration. So people don't know that, I know, and you have it here. I know, drink it. So people don't know that GLP-1s not only reduce your appetite, but they reduce your thirst drive too. It makes total sense, but no one's talking about it.
I've never heard that.
Yeah, it's true. You just, well, if you kind of look back on the history, and I have all of my patients log their food, so this is where I started to pick up the pattern. People would not be drinking their coffee. They wouldn't be doing anything until like 11 a.m. They're like, oh, I just didn't want to. Oh, that's a problem, because then by 2 o'clock, the fatigue sets in, the crazy nausea sets in, the headache sets in, and then you feel like death.
We've never met before.
See, I'm inside your brain.
My life.
Yeah.
Go on.
So I've done this with thousands of patients, and you start to see these patterns that aren't
I'm not
necessarily.
special?
You're very special.
Okay, go on.
But you know what? That's really interesting, because so many people on this journey think they're the only one feeling this. And actually, all of these thoughts are being shared. It is the most collective experience. And that is why I built SoWell, because I want to be in this together with people on the drugs and to help them, because it's not just you. And I'm always telling people these drugs aren't the easy way out, but it shouldn't have to be hard.
So I did wish it was the easy way out. And for a little bit, it was a little like the easy way out in terms of weight loss, because I had become, it just wouldn't come off. And I think for many of us who hold on to excess weight, it's just like, I have tried everything for so long. Like, I actually want the easy way out.
Totally. But the thing is, you have to prepare yourself. Like, I want this to feel easy
But at
for
least
you.
you're being honest.
Well,
You have to think about it.
yeah. I mean, I want it to be easy. That's the whole reason I built SoWell. I wrote the book. I want this to feel like you can keep doing it, because the fact is, it's not the easy way out if you're feeling nauseous and feeling like crap, right? So coming back to how do you feel well on these? You got to hydrate. The thing is, water is not enough, and there has been a collective understanding that electrolytes are very helpful in replenishment, but the electrolytes out there weren't great for my patients because they were built for athletes with far too much sodium, or they were built to taste like appealing to my 11-year-old, right?
Yeah.
With like crazy weird flavors and far too much sugar because they were made for children.
Yeah.
And so you got to supplement with the proper electrolytes. And sodium is a key in this, because if you just drink water, but you're not eating enough food or starting your day off with food, which is okay, you need to get salts to bring water into the right parts of your body to feel well. So electrolytes are key, and we want them to not be too salty and not too sweet, and something that you can come back to every day. So the next thing is protein. You've got to start your day with it. And even if you don't feel like eating, I'm like, okay, let's look for the small volume foods with high protein. So there's like so much love for cottage cheese these days, because rightfully so, it packs a big punch. It's really great. people who don't like the creaminess or the dairy, I'm like, let's find you a protein shake that you like. That was actually the reason I started this whole brand, because it was very hard to find my patients a protein shake that they liked, even though there were hundreds on the market.
There are so many protein shakes. That is actually my biggest question for you is, with so many protein shakes,
Right.
electrolytes, I've never actually seen fiber packs except for yours. So, but specifically with the protein shakes and electrolytes, what's different about SoWell than any of the others?
Okay, so first off, we're going to start with taste. It kind of feels like the most inconsequential, but it is of the most consequence, because if you don't like what you're drinking, you're not going to drink it. So you have to have something that is neutral and natural. And a core to our brand is that we have nothing artificial, and all flavoring is real. So we just have real light vanilla bean in our protein. And then the second thing is, does it make you feel well? And I don't know if you remember the original protein shakes that came to market, and a lot out there now, they make you bloat.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And they hurt. And so people will say, I don't want to drink that. It's like small volume, but then I feel like I had this big meal.
Well, I never drank protein shakes. I guess they never made me feel great.
Great, exactly. And you might not have put two and two together, but so whey protein is really the best for maintaining muscle mass, and it packs a very big punch, but it has lactose in it. So what did we do? I realized after trying like every protein shake under the sun, we took the lactose out. So you get the whey, the benefit of whey, without the bloat of lactose. And then in my deep dive of literature, I realized that we could put digestive enzymes into our protein, which we have.
Oh.
So it helps you break down the protein, and then all other food that you consume throughout the day kind of sits around. And that's a problem for GLP-1 users, because it sits around for a long time.
We're into this, because by this point the audience is like, they're invested and they want the real shit.
Yeah.
And I mean shit.
Yeah. So
What's
how do you
the
poop?
deal with the constipation on the GLP-1s? Is that why we're nauseous and tired?
It can be a contributor. It definitely does not make you feel like getting up off the couch if you're constipated, but it's multifactorial.
It sucks, man.
GLP-1s slow down your digestive tract, and it's some of the way that they influence hormones. So when food sits in your stomach longer, it's actually sending a signal of hormone back up to your brain to not eat more. And so it's incredibly effective, but it slows down the whole GI tract, especially the sole agonist. So Ozempic is just GLP-1.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of say Ozempic or GLP-1, but there are many different iterations on the market now. And GLP-1s exclusively tend to cause more constipation. Zepbound, Mounjaro, the dual agonists, they cause less constipation, but what they tend to do is cycle. So you have some diarrhea on like day 3.
What?
And then you end up constipated day 4 or 5, and then you have diarrhea again. I know. Oh my gosh.
I've never
Have we
been
ever
on that
said
one.
these words on this podcast before?
This is a mom podcast. You think we've never spoken about shit?
Please.
Good.
Good.
You have 4 children.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
And a dog? Do you have a dog?
Oh, absolutely not, because there is still too much poop in our house.
Yeah, there is. I actually, so I've never taken Zepbound or Mounjaro. I've only actually ever been on Ozempic and a natural, like, supplemental GLP-1. But yeah, I do know people who have been on Zepbound and Mounjaro, and the digestion is a disaster on all of them. Is that what we're saying in general?
You have to learn your body. And so I'm a big fan of food logging, because there's some foods that trigger some of these symptoms, and I want you to symptom track. More than logging your food for calories or anything like that, I just want you to log, like, how do you feel? And we need to make sure that we're getting in enough fiber. 95% of Americans are not getting enough fiber as it is pre-GLP-1.
Right.
Reduce the volume of food that they can take in, and the things that have fiber in them tend to go out the window. So it's really important to pay attention to fiber. Fiber supplementation is the absolute number one hardest thing for my patients to do. And a lot of the products were so gross on the market. So I was like, I'm going to do this better, and I'm going to give you all the types of fiber that you need. We're going to give you soluble and insoluble. Those 2 things are key, because they help with that oscillating constipation and diarrhea. We think fiber is just to make you go, but it's also to make you
Keep
not
what you
go
need.
too much. Yeah, and it helps keep you full, and it regulates cholesterol. It's a really important macro. It really is. Fiber is very, very important.
If you're listening to Mom Curious, I know that you have a particular interest in the arts, in culture, in exciting hangs that are IRL. And I know that you could use a break after the summer, quote unquote, break. So I want to invite you to a really exciting film festival that's happening on Fire Island after the kids have left and the families have departed. And it's happening September 18th, 19th, and 20th. It's going to be an incredible hang for tastemakers, industry leaders, of course, filmmakers. And I want you to be there. I'll be there too, so I'll tell you a little bit more about it. The Grove and Pines Film Festival is a love letter to Fire Island, New York. At the film festival, there will be exclusive screenings, top-tier entertainment, exciting parties, merch, secret lounges, and so much more. It's a celebration of authentic queer storytelling. It's happening September 18th, 19th, and 20th. The tickets are on sale now at groveandpinesfilmfestival.com. You wouldn't want to miss the inaugural year of a history-making festival. Grove and Pines Film Festival is a proud nonprofit 501c3 who are offering a $5,000 grant to LGBTQ filmmakers. And we can't wait to see you. So check out GAPFF.com for more details. So I went to my doctor and was really in a bad way with my PCOS and my weight in general. It didn't feel like I was just heavy. It felt like, I know I keep referencing the water retention, but like I just could feel it all over, and the brain fog. It was clearly insulin resistance, which I don't even know enough about. So if you could speak more to that. I know that this is a passion for you and is a passion for me too. There are other people with PCOS who need to know more about GLP-1 options, and they need your guidance because we're not getting covered by insurance.
No,
because we're not really obese enough, heavy enough, and we're really uncomfortable.
This is one of the saddest things to me in medicine right now, is that we're not studying PCOS enough. We're not putting enough money behind it. And GLP-1s probably should be approved for women with PCOS. Why? Because 80% of women with PCOS, which affects about 1 in 10 women or more, have insulin resistance. Insulin resistance is a precursor for type 2 diabetes. There are some stats out there that say 50% of women with PCOS will develop type 2 diabetes by age 40. That's insane. And now we have a medication that helps with that hormonal imbalance, and it is really hard, and it breaks my heart. And sometimes we can navigate it, but let me just say that, we need to be putting more research dollars behind this, and we need to be prioritizing treating women with PCOS. Beyond that, why I love the PCOS patient is because they respond really well to GLP-1s, but they have very unique side effects, and I don't think people are talking to them about it. So because of insulin resistance, when you start a GLP-1, you almost can have a very big response to the lack of cravings, but that means you just stop eating. And so we've already established that if you just stop eating, you just stop drinking, you are not going to feel well. You're going to waste your muscle. Your hair might fall out. You might have more skin laxity. You need to be very aware that you shouldn't go up too high on the dose to lose weight too quickly, and that you really need to look at your nutrition as a woman on PCOS, because I hate that all of a sudden I just went from, nonstop cravings to just not eating anything. That's not health. And then the other thing is hair is really sensitive with PCOS, really sensitive.
I mentioned it before we the camera started rolling. Yeah, it's a huge part.
And the insulin resistance quieting can often make hair loss kind of come out in a bigger way. So I always warn my patients that it will happen. It's called telogen effluvium. It happens with significant hormonal changes, and that happens in weight loss, right? But we need to be aware of it, not be scared of it, not stop our meds, but also really take care to get in enough protein, not lose weight too quickly, make sure we're eating. And then sometimes you might need some other supplementation like oral minoxidil, topical minoxidil, Rogaine.
Oh.
You might need that, which is so crazy for women on PCOS because you're like, wait, hold on, I have way too much hair all my life. Why are you giving this to me? So like a little topical to help with regrowth can really help.
Wow. You know, there are a lot of supplemental things on the market to help us with GLP-1 because there are all of these side effects.
Right.
What sets SoWell apart?
None of them are made for the GLP-1 user. So the brands that you're seeing are being targeted to you and to GLP-1 users, but they were not made for you. And it makes me mad because for your whole life, anyone who struggled with their weight, they have been targeted to lose weight. They have been sold a gym membership, they've been sold a diet plan, they've been sold something in the diet aisle.
The juice cleanses.
Oh my God, all of them. And now you don't need those things. You still need to go to the gym, but you don't need the things you're being sold. And now you're being sold something else that's still not made for you and to make you feel like you're not doing enough. And so SoWell is the antidote to that. SoWell was made by me, really made by me. I'm not just white labeling or putting it on. I developed this. It took 3 years. And I made this for my patient, but for all of the patients out there who are on GLP-1s. I made this so that it responds well to their brain, their taste buds, and their gut. And none of the products out there do that. They have too much sugar. They have too much artificial flavors. They don't taste right. They irritate the gut. We need to protect the gut microbiome.
Yeah.
It's one of the things that gets disrupted that probably contributes to weight gain. We need to be really careful that as we lose weight, we're doing everything possible to protect it. So all of our products have all of the ingredients that I used to recommend. I used to recommend 16 products to people. And I was like, that is crazy.
And expensive.
And expensive.
And the GLP-1 is expensive
oh my
too.
gosh. So
I appreciate you streamlining.
Totally. So I'm going to take all those ingredients and I'm going to put them into a 3-stick pack. And I'm going to make this so that you don't have to think about it. So I want you to get up and I want you to drink your electrolytes. And then I want you to have your protein. And then I want you later in the day to have your fiber. And if you want to switch up the order, great. But I'm going to make this so when you start and you're like, I don't know where to start, I have made it 1, 2, 3. Because I know that success only comes when you simplify things. And we know that as moms. And I know that as a doctor. And so I made something just for the GLP-1 user. I made it impactful with multi-ingredients, and I tried to make it easy.
I have a meditation teacher who used to market her meditations as like, it'll give you better sex and better sleep and make you rich and make you hot. And then she said it was like a bait and switch, you know? It's not that it won't happen. But once you sit down and you start meditating, you're also going to be more generous. You're also going to be a more serviceful person. You're going to be healthier. And it feels like this conversation is about GLP-1 is like, you're going to get skinny and you're going to feel great. And then sitting here with you in the integrity of like a doctor space is like, and we're going to teach you how to be healthy.
Yeah.
How to take care of your body, which from the perspective of a person who like, honestly, just, I wanted this to be like a magic shot.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we need that second layer, which is we need you to be sustainably healthy long term.
Right.
And if we have you holding our hand, I do feel like that's way more possible. So thanks for writing the book.
Thank you.
Thank you for SoWell. Thank you for your clinical work and for scaling yourself so that you could reach more people who can use this drug responsibly and stack habits on top of it to make themselves healthier and more serviceful.
Exactly.
More
all
present
those
in their
things. I'm
life.
like, I'm going to take that because it's the truth. Because this drug just allows you to build all those habits. SoWell allows you to feel well, to kind of have clarity so that you can get to the gym, so you can build that muscle,
Right.
so you can plan your meals, so that you can achieve all of the goals of why you went on this drug.
Right. You're going to have to come back on because we have to talk about GLP-1s and fertility. We have to talk about GLP-1s and menopause. We have to do a debrief of when I come into the office and we do all the tests. I mean, to be continued.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, where can we follow you, continue to learn from you, and maybe even get on the SoWell journey?
Yes, I'm so happy to be here. And I will come back because we have so much more to talk about.
Yes, we do.
You can follow me on Instagram at Alexandra Sowa MD, also on TikTok at that handle. And you're going to follow Get SoWell on Instagram and TikTok. That is our brand that will teach you the SoWell method and our products. And you can find us at getsowell.com.
Are you taking any more patients?
I do accept patients.
I've said this a million
yes,
times in
you're
this-
going to come be my patient.
Okay, great. And in case someone wants to.
And you can find me at Alexandra Sowa MD. I see patients telehealth.
Great.
And I have really high touch points, and we're in 13 states right now. So you can come be my patient too.
Okay, awesome. I can't wait. All right, see you next week. Thank you so much for tuning in.